What's going on, everybody? Hey, just wanted to go over that video that I was talking about in the group chat there a couple days ago. I wanted to show you guys probably the most enlightening thing that I've found in all of my research that I've been doing this. You know, we talked about it a couple of weeks ago or a couple months ago, or even when we first started the idea of Bitcoin moves as a technology. It moves as a basically growing organism through life. Yeah, it trades on the financial markets, but it's truly just a technology that people are adopting. And we're seeing the S-curve play out in the charts. So we talked about how once Bitcoin goes past a certain level, it never really goes back behind it ever after it breaks its Fibonacci extension line. So the grand Fibonacci extension is 1.618 from point A to point B. So I started thinking about this in a grander scale, and I was wondering, you know, if it follows Fibonacci extension so perfectly, what if we just map this out as an actual Fibonacci growth from the very, very, very beginning of Bitcoin's inception? And when I did that, guys, I found something just kind of fucking nuts, really, and why I have the ability to kind of picture where this thing is going, why I basically was saying that this market is not done yet for this current cycle. And I wanted to share it with you guys. Hopefully this video doesn't go too long and cut off on me, but please let me know if it does, because I think this is probably the most important video that I've dropped, and to show you and then kind of enlighten you on what's going on here. So in case you didn't know what the Fibonacci sequence is, it's basically, you know, one of the most recognizable mathematical sequences in life right now. Basically what it means is, you know, one Fibonacci line draws its value from the previous Fibonacci line and the previous Fibonacci line before that. So basically the sequence goes 1, 1, 2, because 1 plus 1 is 2. The next number is 3 because 2 plus 1 is 3. The next number is 5 because 3 plus 2 is 5, and so on and so forth. And obviously those numbers get larger and larger and larger as we go. So what I did, guys, which is nuts, is I said, okay, as this thing follows this Fibonacci sequence, what if we adopted it from the very beginning? So what I did was I put the Fibonacci sequence from the very top where this thing started, which was about 10 cents, down to its very bottom, which was about a penny. Imagine buying Bitcoin at a penny, but I digress. That would be the craziest thing ever. You would be a multi-millionaire right now on just $50 investment at a penny. But anyway, so what I did was mark the Fibonacci sequence from that high to that low. And what I did was counted it up. So we had 1 Fibonacci line, 2 Fibonacci lines, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, all the way up to 10. Once we got to 10, something strange happened in the very first cycle. You could see that this baby started to turn around. So after it hit exactly 10 Fibonacci lines, it started to revert. Now I thought, okay, you know, as this is a growing technology, what happens when things grow, right? They continue to grow in a sequence, but also, you know, as we get past a certain level, they won't necessarily continue to grow at the same crazy pace, right? Think of the Chinese bamboo tree that grows to 60 feet in 60 days. You know, it will continue to grow after that, but the law of diminishing returns basically says, you know, if this thing can't grow into infinity, it's going to continue to grow at a pace, but it won't grow as fast as that initial surge. The same thing here. So I thought, okay, maybe on this next cycle, once it breaks this high, it won't go 10 Fibonacci lines. Maybe it goes, you know, 50% less or 75% less. And what I found was this thing has been basically moving 2 Fibonacci lines less every single time. So this was the first one. This happened in 2011. That was the first surge, 10 Fibonacci lines. So then I said, okay, once this breaks here, it's 1885 or 20, whatever this is pointing at. What if we did 8 Fibonacci lines from there instead of 10, because of the law of diminishing returns, right? So I counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 7 to 8 right there. What happened? Denial off the 8 went into a bear market. after hitting 8. So crazy. Yeah, right. So I was like, okay, maybe this was just, coincidence, a fluke. That happened twice. What if we did it again? So as soon as we break this line, this Fibonacci line again, what about 6 lines this time, since there seems to be somewhat of a pattern? This was the 2017 run. This is something that you guys should all remember hearing about or being a part of. So I counted, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. Exactly. What did it do? It popped. Popped the bubble, came back down. So I thought, man, is this kept going, if this is going to keep going this rate, the next obvious move should be 2 less after it breaks this Fibonacci line. So we should be moving 4 Fibonacci sequences. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that gives us an exact line of about 106 to 108. And if you see, when we made our move after we broke this, we ran up basically to the 3rd Fibonacci sequence. And that was it, right? So if this thing is going to follow this pattern, which, it's basically done since its inception, it should go to 4 Fibonacci sequences after breaking this. This is just even more, ideas of and confirming this theory that this thing is really moving as a technology growth. Yeah, it's being traded on an everyday financial market. Financial markets are going to give it crazy swings, but as this thing grows and adopts, it's going to grow like this technology, like this S-curve, and it's doing that exactly. So what's crazy is this thing, in my eyes, since we held that line right here, which was about 28.9, 29.2, and I said this thing should not break this because of its growth as a technology, and it didn't. My philosophy is, guys, this thing has to complete, and it hasn't completed yet. It has to complete this move, and my target is at 106, 108 during this bull cycle because of all this previous data. It lines up. So what's even more crazy about that? So this is our first cycle we're doing together. So we should hit this 106, 108. After we go into that, or after we hit that, we should move into a bear cycle for about a year and a half before this thing halves again. So as that happens, it should move back down to this, $42,000 to $50,000 level within the next year and a half after it tops out about 106. That's where we trade, and that's where we build this account and build your portfolios, because what happens next time, guys? What happens next time in 4 years when this does this exact same thing again? It's going to break this all-time high, and because of the law of diminishing returns, it's going to move 2 Fibonacci sequences up instead of 4. I didn't mark them both out, but the second sequence moves all the way up to 283,000, or 284 if you want to round up. So in 4 to 5 years, after we top out this bull cycle, come back down, kind of chill out for a year and a half, and this does this again, Bitcoin should be really moving to that 284. And after this does this again, since, again, the law of diminishing returns, the 4-year cycle after that should only move 1 Fibonacci sequence, which would put us roughly about this, like, almost 500,000. So in 8 years, guys, if this follows the same sequence, which is, why shouldn't it? It's growth as a technology, limited coins for the rest of this thing's life. This thing should move up, and it should hit those targets and continue to grow smaller in size as it grows, smaller Fibonacci sequences, but it still should continue to grow until it stabilizes. And I think it's going to stabilize around that 500,000 level. It may grow crazier, but that's kind of where we're going. So we still see a 10x in this. We still see a 10x in Bitcoin for the next 10 years. That's it. I mean, it's literally growing as a map according to plan. So I hope you guys can understand this. Like, go back and listen to this and read into this a little bit. This is nuts. Like, this is literally a golden goose mapped out plan of where this thing's going, and it's following it to an actual T. And so this is why it continues to build my theory and continue to build where I think this thing is going, because it literally has to. Like, it literally has to grow this way because of this exact theory, because of Fibonacci, because of math, because of science. That's all I got today, guys. I hope that was just a little enlightening and why you're in the right place, and you're still, yeah, you didn't get those crazy 65 million percent gains that you could have got, but you would have had to go through a lot of shit to still be in Bitcoin since 2011. But know that we're still early. We're still very, very, very early. And this is a 10x on the overall technology of Bitcoin, the overall technology of digital currency, the overall technology of digital assets. Should pause after 10 times in its size right now. So that means in the next 8 to 10 years, there's going to be a lot of opportunities, not just with Bitcoin, but with everything that comes out of the ecosystem. So again, that's all I got today, guys. I hope this was, somewhat enlightening of why you're in the right place at the right time with the right people. That's going to teach you this stuff. That's going to help you capitalize on this stuff. It's going to help you turn a little bit into a lot of it. So that's all I got, guys. Have a good weekend.